the trailers that we got this week. The first one we want to touch on, Avatar 2, the full trailer got released along with the poster. Who wants to give thoughts about this first? It looked amazing, but what are we thinking? George, give your thoughts.
I think the trailer looks beautiful. I think the second trailer really helped kind of elevate my excitement for this movie. You guys know how I feel about the original. It's just not my cup of tea. I think it is, a staple in visual storytelling, but don't think it holds up well. First Avatar trailer is very quick. It's basically a teaser, not much to it. So even after that, I was kind of like, okay, where are we going with this? And this trailer kind of sold me on the movie. It seems like this just grand in scale film. It kind of has a Dune world building feel to it, which obviously we saw in the first one, but it looks like they're going to expand on it like crazy in the second one. So I enjoyed the trailer. I had absolute FOMO when I was in my office and I couldn't post a trailer reaction to it. But I think the trailer was very good. I think it did what it had to do to elevate my excitement and actually get me to the theater on opening day.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I'm not as sold on it as you yet because I just didn't love the first one. But I think visually, the world building looks immaculate. But I think this is going to be expected, though, isn't it? He's been working on this for such a amount of time, and how good the first one looked, it was expected. Tyler, you're probably the most excited for it out of us four, I would say.
I would say so, yeah. And I think it'll be interesting to see how this movie turns out because it's going to be 3 hours and 10 minutes. And it's Avatar 2, but I feel like it's almost going to feel like an Avatar 1 in terms of if he's trying to make 5 movies total, I think he's kind of going to try to open up the entire world, do a lot of world building. I feel like Avatar 2, even though it's a sequel, might feel a lot like Dune did, like George mentioned, where there's going to be a lot of world building because this went from a movie that was just a one-off hypothetically at the time in 2009 when it came out or earlier than that. I don't know. Yeah. And, but now he's going in it for the long haul of 5 movies that are going to be 2.5 hours minimum probably each. So I feel like we're going to get a lot of setup in this one. Do we think this breaks box office records? I think it will. I think it will.
Yeah.
Because when they re-released Avatar 1, they literally were like the highest grossing movie that weekend because people thought it was Avatar 2. So literally just confused people that thought this was the second one going to the theater was enough to be like the top of the box office for that weekend of a re-release. So that's why I think this will still break records.
I think when we look at it as well, we often look at it as the film talk community. A lot of people don't love it as much as the general population. There is a lot more of the general population, and a lot of people think Avatar is like one of the best films of all time. The fact that this is getting a sequel is going to draw insane numbers. So I think you might be right, Tyler. I think, especially with the re-release of the first one, the amount of people who went to see it, like how much it boomed. I don't know. I think you could be right. Cam, did you manage to give it a watch?
Yeah. So I texted you guys this morning and was like, I realized I never actually watched the trailer. So I finally did watch it like right before we hopped on. It looks really good. What I'll say, I'm not an Avatar guy, and I've been kind of an Avatar hater for a long while. I think it's a good movie. I only saw it like a year ago at this point.
Really?
Because I was boycotting it. So I never went and saw it in theaters. And then when I started to get into movies a lot, like in 2016-ish, I kind of boycotted it because I'm like, why is this movie the highest grossing of all time? It's just me being petty for a long while. And I'm still just going to be a dick about it. But so like I have a running joke with a couple of my friends who are into movies that like I'll just never see this thing. Obviously I will go see the second. But so like I said, I got started like kind of liking movies in like 2016 area. So I've been like listening to podcasts and stuff on movies for a long while. And the intrigue for this movie for me is only because of how many times like it's been delayed. It's gotten to the point that like I just think James Cameron is such a jackass. This thing better be incredible. So I tried looking it up like all 6 times James Cameron's Avatar 2 was delayed. So his goal was back in 2014.
Was that the first goal? Wow.
Yeah, then it was delayed to 2016. In October 2010, in October 2010, he announced that it was going to start in 2011. Avatar 2 and 3 were going to come back to back. So then it went 2014, and then it went 2016, and then 2017, 2018, 2020. We'll give him COVID. I'll give him COVID for one. And now it's finally 2022. Oh no, I guess actually 2 months after the Fox Disney deal went down, they announced that it would be December 17th, 2021. So it's been delayed so many times, and I've kind of been like following this delay, because one of these times it got delayed because like James Cameron was like, oh, I can't get the way water looks right.
Yeah.
And then if you watch Aquaman, like James Wan did it really well. Do that. No one's going to say anything. It looks fine. Fuck you, James Cameron. And now he's got, and this is just me going on a rant. Now he's got 5 more planned for this movie that is a good movie. Yeah.
So mad.
Come out with the second, and then I'll let you.
Then we'll
plan.
see. Yeah.
I have to wait another 12 years. This will officially be my least favorite franchise in history. And it's maddening that this thing's considered a franchise. You've got one movie. It's one. It's
how old is James Cameron? Like,
he's fucking 82.
Old.
Is he?
No, I
he's
know,
like
I'm guessing.
60, 70s?
He's got to be like 67. That's my guess. 68.
Yeah,
I guess.
That you haven't got that much left, sure.
Exactly, man. And it's like, it's just God. He's just such a jackass. This to me, also, tell me if I'm wrong, is no different than a fucking MCU movie. So when he sits there and he's like, MCU movies are ruining cinema. It's Avatar's the same fucking thing. It's just
I thought it was Martin
CGI
Scorsese that said that. I didn't know James Cameron also
James
said that.
Cameron has said it.
No,
also.
James Cameron said that.
Everyone. David Fincher said it. Tarantino said it. Everyone.
It's fine. It doesn't matter. But all I'm saying is Avatar is the same fucking thing. It's giant CGI blue things running around having sex with their hair.
When does that happen in MCU thing?
Well, the difference between superhero movies and Avatar is that Avatar actors literally are holding their breaths under real water, whereas it's not CGI. Because have you seen this? No, have you seen the stack ranking? Like every actor and actress is like, this actor on Avatar 2 has held their breath for 4 minutes 55 seconds, and you can see like the ranking of how long.
I don't believe that. I think they're lying.
I would fold so fast if you asked me to do that.
I'd do like 20 seconds.
Do you know how much like training you have to like? What's fucking David Blaine's record?
Like hours.
But to be fair, Tyler, that's like when they say
lies.
That's when they say like Chris Evans added like 20 pounds of muscle in like a month.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? They always come out with these stats, don't they? It's like,
well, I mean, Chris Evans did that by pricking his ass with a certain substance.
Exactly.
But do this 15-minute body weight circuit every day, and you'll get Chris Hemsworth's
eat
body.
Your chicken. Yeah.
Back to the trailer. I'm very excited for this movie now because I hate it so much.
Honestly, I'm gonna discredit Cam's hatred for Avatar 1 a little bit. I didn't know you didn't watch it till like a year ago, and you were hating on it. So the first time ever you watched it was a year ago, you said?
Yeah.
But you were hating on it for years before then.
No, I just didn't go and see it for years before. Oh, yeah, I was like, why did this movie? Yeah, I was boycotting it. I never said I didn't like it. I just said
I think a lot of people did that when they found out it was like the biggest grossing movie.
I mean, it came out in 2009, so I would have been 10. I don't know. My parents didn't take me to see it in theaters.
It's a little xenophobic against blue people, Cam.
Yes, man. Fuck, have sex with your hair.
Right. I think that ends the
that being said, Sigourney Weaver's playing a child. Weird. Was water that involved in the first one?
No.
I forget.
Not that I can remember.
Why is it so important here?
Because it's the way of water.
The final battle of the first one was in the sky, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Well,
move on.
Brilliant. We won't have to touch on this too long, but I just thought this would be a good little talking point for us. So, obviously, as Tyler mentioned earlier, Avatar 2 runtime is set to be 3 hours and 10 minutes. Now, the question I wanted to point towards you is like, I truly believe that this might not be the case for Avatar, but most modern releases are much longer than they need to be. Like, if we look at the most releases from the past 6 months, whatever, I was looking through them the other day, the majority are around 1 hour 55 to like 2 hours 15. Are modern films, are a lot of them too long? Is one question I'd like. Cam, do you agree? Do you disagree?
I think it's just like, I think it's blockbusters. Everyone wants more, everyone.
Well, I don't know if it is though. I don't know if it is blockbuster, because even the small niche films that you watch, the good Nurse.
We talked about.
I have a question for you, Seth.
Yeah.
What is your time limit cap where you're going to start saying that movie is long?
I don't have one. I just mean like I
think anything above like 220 is where I'm going to start saying that movie is long.
I think it depends, but the argument I'm putting across is like films that don't need to be that long.
Yeah.
I know I keep going back to it, but
some do.
comes to no, of course some do. Like this isn't an argument saying that I like if I had to choose between an hour 30 great film and a 2 hour 30 great film, I'd choose a 2 hour 30 great film.
Yeah,
because I want that experience to last longer, and a lot of films deserve to be that long. But I think when you're producing just a film that has such a simple narrative and it doesn't need these extended motions, these extended scenes that we don't care for. The Good Nurse being an example. I know I keep referring back to it. I just think a lot of films could just be shortened to 90 minutes, but production teams won't do that a lot of the time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's just the case I'm going with it. Tyler, what do you think? I know you're about to.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying. And one thing I'm starting to think is, I mean, plenty of people have talked about this in media, and anyone with a brain can see it coming. Like, the theaters seem like they could be on their last breath in terms of overall movie theater success over the next few decades. So I feel like it's getting to the point where every movie in a theater has to be like a blockbuster. And then when it's a blockbuster, it has to be like 2 hours or more in order to merit going to the theater. And I feel like I could see us going down a trend where if your movie's only an hour and a half, people are just going to say, no matter what it is, just going to say that should be a direct-to-streaming movie. It's only an hour and a half. It's not a movie theater going experience where it's 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And I feel like I could see in 10 years from now, movie theaters are purely just 2 hour, 2.5 hour, 3 hour huge budget films exclusively. Like, we're already seeing that right now. Like, there's so many indie films we all want to see that's like, shit, I'm gonna have to drive an hour to see this, even though it's by Park Chan-wook, an incredible director, or it's a Jennifer Lawrence film, or it's like movies that have what normally should be box office draws, or directors that should be the ones everyone's dying to see, but because it's not a blockbuster with 7 actors we all know, that's going to be some crazy action CGI piece. I don't know. I mean, unfortunately, I never want theaters to die. I love movie theaters, but it's inevitable. I mean, it's coming. I don't know.
Well,
I hope it comes later, chain, but yeah, not soon.
Like, one of the biggest chains in the UK has just gone bankrupt. Like, that's but I think it's the biggest chain, or at least around us anyway, around where I am. But I just think a lot of them are too long. I don't know if anyone else thinks this, but every time I go and watch a new release now, it seems to be like an hour 50 and above.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why, but
again, I'd say for me, anything over 2 hours is where I get in it's long. Like, it's not like long in terms of where I'm going to watch and be like, but it's like where it pushes the limits. Like, Triangle of Sadness is one I'm the only one who's seen. And when you all see it, I think you'll all enjoy it, but you're all going to say like it should have been 30 minutes shorter. Like, it just goes on for way too long.